Men think they'd know if she's cheating, but here's the truth. Most don't. The signs aren't dramatic. They're subtle, hidden in small changes in her routine and affection. And if you miss them, you could wake up months later realizing your relationship has shifted in ways you never saw coming. I'm Coach Jane, and today we're going to talk about the first hidden behavior that can signal she's already cheating. Pay close attention. These patterns often appear weeks before anything obvious happens. Before we start, subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification to be notified of our latest videos. Behavior 1. Micro shifts in routine and affection. Let's get right into it. You know her daily habits, the texts she sends, how she greets you in the morning, how she spends her evenings. When a woman is cheating, these tiny routines start to shift. You may notice it in ways so small you almost dismiss them. She no longer texts good morning like she used to. She smiles and hugs you, but the warmth feels a fraction less than before. Her timing changes, leaving the bedroom earlier, coming home later, even small shifts in phone habits. These micro shifts are usually not malicious. They often reflect distraction, emotional preoccupation, or subconscious guilt. But repeated over days and weeks, they form a pattern you can't ignore. I spoke with a man in Maricopa County, Arizona. He noticed that his wife had started leaving the bedroom 10 minutes earlier than usual, claiming it was her morning routine. He didn't think much of it at first, but then her texting habits changed. Late-night messages, subtle secrecy about her day, new attention to appearance. These tiny shifts, when seen together, told a story he couldn't ignore. They were subtle, but the pattern revealed the truth long before anything obvious happened. Why do these micro shifts happen? Women who are cheating often try to maintain normalcy while hiding irregularity. Life looks the same on the surface, but emotional energy is being redirected elsewhere. Men often focus on obvious red flags, suspicious texts, late nights, or emotional distance. But it's the small, consistent differences, a tiny delay here, a subtle lack of attention there, that speak the loudest. Notice this. A single missed text or one brief hug isn't enough to jump to conclusions. But weeks of repeated microshifts, that's a pattern you need to take seriously. Here's my advice, as your Coach Jane. Watch for patterns, not isolated actions. Keep a mental note of changes in routine and affection over time. And here's another favor I want to ask. Share your anonymized experiences in the comments. You don't have to give names or locations, just patterns you've noticed. Why? Because when you share, you help other men spot the early signs before it's too late. It's not just a comment, it's a lesson that can protect someone else's heart. Keep watching, because we'll cover a behavior most men completely miss. This one often slips under your radar even when you're paying attention. Behavior 2. Emotional withdrawal hidden behind calmness. Let's break this down. Women who are cheating often withdraw emotionally, yet mask it with calmness. Outwardly, she may appear polite, collected, even warm. But the emotional intimacy you once shared is quietly slipping away. Some examples. Conversations that used to flow now feel flat or one-sided. She smiles or laughs, but it feels like she's observing more than participating. She avoids deep conversations, intimacy, or shared planning for the future. Men often mistake this for stress, fatigue, or a rough week, and sometimes that is the reason. But when calmness becomes persistent emotional distance, it's a signal to pay attention. A man from Orange County, California, shared that his wife would sit beside him on the couch, watch TV, laugh at jokes, yet share nothing about her day. He tried to connect, asked about her feelings, and she nodded politely, then returned to her phone. Outwardly, she was calm, but the emotional connection had quietly eroded. Another man from Fairfax County, Virginia, noticed that his partner became increasingly busy on weekends. She was home, present physically, but emotionally absent. Over time, these small withdrawals signaled a pattern of detachment long before he ever suspected infidelity. Why do women hide withdrawal behind calmness? Women who cheat often avoid confrontation or guilt exposure. By keeping calm, they prevent questions and maintain appearances, creating a buffer between you and the truth. As a man, the key is watching for patterns over time. A single distant day could be fatigue. A week of distance, stress or life challenges. A month or more of persistent polite withdrawal, that's a pattern you cannot ignore. First, observe over time. One day of distance or a quiet evening doesn't mean she's cheating or emotionally disconnected. Life happens. Stress, fatigue, or outside pressures can temporarily change her behavior. But when you notice repeated patterns over weeks, your mind should start paying attention. Patterns reveal the truth. Isolated incidents can be explained away. Second, notice consistency. Emotional withdrawal hidden behind calmness isn't dramatic. She may still smile, joke, or engage lightly, but if her polite, detached demeanor continues consistently, it's a signal. Consistency or lack of it tells you whether these behaviors are situational or part of a larger pattern you need to recognize. Third, trust your instincts. Your gut often notices subtle shifts that your conscious mind overlooks. If something feels off, don't ignore it. That inner voice is usually right. It's picking up on micro changes in her routine, her attention, or her emotional presence. Before we continue, I want to ask you a personal favor. If this video helps you even a little, hit the like button. Not just for me, but for men in California, New York, Texas, or anywhere in the USA. Your engagement helps them recognize these patterns early, protecting their hearts before it's too late. Now, let's uncover the third hidden behavior, and I'll show you exactly what to look for so you can see it before it's too late. Behavior 3. Overcompensation to cover guilt. Some common ways overcompensation appears: excessive affection, sudden increases in hugs, compliments, or intimate gestures that feel slightly forced; attention to detail, planning elaborate evenings or gifts that she didn't usually give; constant reassurance, repeatedly saying she loves you, calling or texting excessively even when it feels unnecessary. These acts often mask internal guilt, and while they can temporarily make a man feel secure, they're not signs that the relationship is stronger. They're signs that something has shifted under the surface. I spoke with a man from Miami-Dade County, Florida. He noticed that his partner, who had become distant over the previous months, suddenly started leaving notes around the house, planning date nights every week, and over-explaining her love for him. On the surface, it looked like she was turning things around, but he also noticed small inconsistencies: phone secrecy, unusual outings, and subtle irritability when asked about her day. Another story comes from Travis County, Texas. A man reported that his wife, who previously didn't spend much time cooking, suddenly became obsessed with preparing elaborate dinners. She would compliment him constantly and shower him with gifts. Initially, he felt relief, but the pattern was too intense, too sudden, and the underlying emotional withdrawal from earlier months hadn't gone away. Why does overcompensation happen? Women who cheat often experience guilt and fear exposure. Overcompensation is a subconscious attempt to cover up discrepancies between their behavior and their hidden actions. Men often misinterpret this as reconciliation, renewed affection, or proof that everything is fine. The truth is, real emotional reconnection grows naturally without extreme shifts or sudden intensity. Patterns that spike too suddenly, especially after emotional withdrawal or micro shifts in routine, are warning signs that something is off. What to watch for? As your coach, Jane, I want to give you a deeper understanding of how to recognize overcompensation. It's often subtle, but once you know what to look for, it becomes clear. First, look at the timing. Overcompensation rarely appears randomly. It often follows a period of distance, emotional withdrawal, or noticeable changes in routine. A sudden surge of attention, gifts, or affection after weeks or months where she seemed disconnected is not a random act of love. It's a pattern signaling guilt or an attempt to hide something, not genuine emotional reconnection. Second, check for consistency. Real, authentic love shows itself in steady, reliable patterns. Overcompensation, on the other hand, is intense but short-lived. One week she's showering you with attention, the next week she's distant again. This inconsistency is a warning sign. Look for balance over time, not peaks that feel too perfect. Third, trust your instincts. Men often dismiss that inner voice that says, something feels off. If it feels too much, too fast, your intuition is picking up a subtle imbalance. Finally, observe behavior, not just words. Compliments, declarations of love, or promises mean little if they're paired with secrecy, small lies, or other suspicious patterns. Overcompensation without authenticity is a mask, not a fix, and your careful observation is the best way to see through it. Remember, the key here is patterns, not single events. One gift or extra date doesn't mean she's cheating, but if it comes after weeks of micro shifts and emotional withdrawal, you should be alert. Now that you know all three hidden behaviors, micro shifts in routine and affection, emotional withdrawal behind calmness, and overcompensation to cover guilt, you have the tools to see subtle patterns before they become obvious. Here's what I want you to do next. Pay attention to repeated behaviors over time, not one-off actions. And if you noticed any of these patterns in your relationship, comment, tell me about your experiences below. By sharing, you're helping other men across California, New York, Florida, Texas, and all over the USA recognize the early warning signs and protect themselves. Trust me, your insights could save someone else from heartbreak. Take this knowledge seriously. Don't ignore subtle changes, don't dismiss your instincts, and remember that patterns speak louder than words. If you're seeing one or more of these behaviors in your partner, it's time to act with clarity, protect your emotional well-being, and not wait for the obvious to hit.